Welcome back to Raw Transmission, Music Familia. Hope you guys are hanging in there and having a great day. Welcome to Music, Truth, and Chaos, and they all collide right here. This is episode 2, and I want to come at this a lot different than I thought I would, just opening this up, because if you heard episode 1, you know we went raw, we went dark, we went heavy, and the weight of trauma and the reality of noise, the truth that scars don't fade easy, that was needed at that time in my life. And today feels different, I think. And I just came off today from volunteering, and man, it hit me a lot different, thinking about this. There's something about putting your energy into someone else's hands, into a cause and into your community. It clears the fog, and I think that it cuts through all the noise and the drama and the back and forth, the arguments that I think that we go through every day, the scrolling that eats up your hours, because out there doing the work, you realize that that's where it counts, I think. Not in the comments, but not even in the claps or even in the boos. Like right here, I think, in just showing up and being present and doing what you know is right. I think that's going to be the vibe for this episode. Truth isn't what you stand against, it's what you stand for. So today I'm shifting my gears, and I'm going to talk about service and how giving back, even in small ways, because giving back in small ways becomes the largest way to drown out the noise around you, I think. We'll still hit on chaos, but instead of chaos as a curse, we'll flip it. Chaos is going to be our soil for this conversation. It's messy, it's rough, but very ground growth sprouts from, Of course, we're going to talk music, I think, because this show isn't just words, it's sound. It's energy, it's pulse. Today I want to introduce you to Kissing Lilith, a Cleveland band making their first dive into Columbus for October. Honestly, being October 1st, I thought this was going to be epic to just shout out High Spirit Fest going down October 18th. And at the end of this episode, you're going to hear the single Kiss Me, Kill Me, loud, unapologetic, and full of that fire that we all need right now, and we definitely know that the Columbus scene can provide. We'll also take a minute to show some gratitude to the ones who make this all possible. Shamrock Printing, turning ideas into something you can hold on to in your hand. Darimar Martial Arts, building confidence and discipline right here in our own neighborhoods. And of course, this city, Columbus, because without the people here, this mic is just dead air. And I love you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening to me and supporting me for all these years. So buckle in, because this episode isn't about sinking into shadows. It's about pointing at the light, reminding ourselves what happens when we put our energy where it actually matters. This is Raw Transmission, episode 2. Stand on truth, not noise. Let's go. Let's talk about service for a second, because after volunteering today, it hit me. Service is louder than noise any fucking day. You know what I realized? All the energy people burning, arguing online, clapping back in comment sections, writing paragraphs nobody's ever gonna read. If they put that same energy into their community, into their families, into their craft, the world will look different overnight, I feel like, in so many respects. When you're standing in front of real people, helping, giving time, and putting yourself into something that matters, the drama doesn't even register. It doesn't hit the same. Noise can only exist if you give it attention, but service builds. Service echoes. Service plants seeds you'll see grow long after the comment thread. And that's the vibe I want for this episode. Truth isn't found in the scroll. Truth is found in what you show up for. So let me tie this into something that I've been building and working on for quite some time. It's called Domestic God Mode. And for me, Domestic God Mode is more than a brand idea. It's a statement. It's saying men and fathers and husbands and brothers and sons, we don't have to be the background characters in our own homes. We don't have to let chaos drown us out. We can step into the role with pride, and we can own it, and we can be what we want to be and be what our families deserve us to be. I joke about it sometimes, the kitchen is the battlefield, the laundry is the endless war, and the bedtime routine is the campaign, the campaign that you're never actually going to win. But underneath the humor, I feel like there is some truth. Being a dad, being a partner, and holding it down at home, that's God level work, right? Being a partner at home and handling the finances, or even if you're not a partner at home, if you're just a single mom, a single dad, a single entity, you are somebody, you are something to some little person running around right now. I say that it's God level work, but really it's building empires from the inside out. And domestic God mode is about redefining masculinity. It's not the old school sit back and let someone else handle it mindset. It's about saying I'm here and I'm involved. I'm leading in the trenches. You want to know what chaos looks like? Try juggling dinner while the dog's barking and one kid's asking deep life questions, even close to understanding the questions that they're asking, but you're definitely not ready for the questions they're asking, especially deep life questions that you haven't answered yourself. The others are using the Nerf gun like it's a military grade weapon. That's chaos, folks. But it's also where the best lessons are, I think. Because here's the truth. You don't learn resilience from scrolling. You don't learn strength from ignoring the mess. You don't learn it from being in the middle of it, and you learn it from putting the apron on and standing in the middle of the fire with a spatula in one hand and homework folder in the other, and figuring out that one burned pancake at a time while the sausage is only brown on one side. And volunteering today, reminded me of that, basically, that nobody there was pretending life was perfect. Nobody was worried about being liked or ratioed, or they were just there, doing the work, making the moment count. And to me, that's domestic God mode too. It's the same heart. Give your best where it matters most. And I think that's what's missing in so many conversations about masculinity. Too many people think it's about posturing, about looking tough, acting like you've got it all together. I'm telling you right now, you don't, because real strength is being the guy who does the dishes because his partner had a long day. Real strength is being the dad who shows up to the school play even when he's dead tired, Real strength is giving your community a Saturday because someone else needs it more than you do. Noise will tell you masculinity is fragile, and I say that's fucking bullshit. Truth shows you it's resilient and it's hell when you put it into service. And a lot of people don't realize that. And here's the kicker. When you own that mindset, the noise doesn't stick. You don't have time for petty arguments because you're too busy creating. If you have time to hate, you have time to create. Building, showing up, that's where the energy belongs. The world doesn't need more men yelling into the void. It needs more men willing to stand up in their own homes, in their own neighborhoods, to say, I've got this. I can handle this chaos. I can make something out of it. That's what domestic God mode is about. It's not perfection. It's pride. It's presence. It's taking all the noise the world throws at us and is saying, cool story, bro, but I've got kids to raise, meals to cook, and floors to mop, and I have a fucking dream to chase. So just get out of my way. Because when you stop and you think about it, when you step up at home, when you step up in service, you realize that the loudest truth you can stand on, and it doesn't just silence the noise, it rewrites the whole damn soundtrack. So let's talk about chaos for a second. For a long time, I looked at chaos as the enemy, the thing that kept me from being at peace, the storm that never lets up. But the more I live in it, the more I realize chaos isn't just noise. Chaos is soil. It's messy, it's rough, it's unpredictable, but fertile. Growth doesn't come from sterile, perfect conditions. Growth comes from chaos. Think about it for a second. A garden doesn't grow in marble floors or glass houses. It grows in dirt, real dirt. Muddy, messy, full of worms, full of things you don't want under your fingernails. But without that dirt, nothing sprouts. Same thing with life, I think, sometimes at the end of the day. The chaos in your house, the kids yelling, the dog barking, the mess that somehow reproduces itself no matter how many times you clean it, that's not just frustration. That's proof you're alive, and proof that you're building something, proof that you're in motion. And I'm gonna say that openly, yeah, sometimes it's hilarious, like when you're trying to cook dinner and suddenly the smoke alarm decides it wants to join the family band, and when you're given a serious dad lecture, halfway through you realize you got syrup on your shirt and your kid can't take you seriously. You know, that's chaos right there. And that's also memory. That's also a story. But at the end of the day, that's also soil. Domestic God mode lives here too, because let's be real, the brand is funny, but it's also real. It's about taking that chaos and flipping it into pride. Yeah, my house looks like a Nerf war zone, but my kids think bedtime is a hostage negotiation, but you know what? I'm here, I'm in it, and I'm not running from it. And I think too many parents run from it. And I can't speak for moms because I'm not a mom, but I am a dad. And I will tell you that I know that there are dads that are probably listening to this that are saying, man, I think I could probably do better. Man, I think I could probably step up. Too many guys look at chaos like it's weakness, like if it's messy, they're failing. Nah, man, I need you to hear me on this. Life's messy because it's alive. The only time it's perfectly still is when it's dead. And I don't know about you guys, but I'll take noise any fucking day. Some spilled juice, some late nights over silence any day. One thing's for sure, my dad told me when I was a little kid, growth only happens under pressure. They call it the challenge zone. Too little stress and you stagnate, you get stuck. Too much and you break. But right in the middle, that's where transformation is doable. Chaos keeps you in the zone, it stretches you, and it forces you to adapt. I used to think peace meant the absence of chaos. Now I realize peace is knowing how to walk through chaos without letting it crush you. It's not about waiting for the noise to stop, it's about finding your rhythm inside the noise. Here's a story for you. I once had a day where everything hit me at once. The kids were sick, the bills were overdue, I had some car trouble that day, and it was just all stacking up, like all before 11 a.m. And honestly, old me would have spiraled out of control. But that day, instead of flipping out, I laughed my ass off because it was absurd. Like, of course the dog puked on the carpet right as I'm trying to juggle phone calls. That's life's way of saying, you know, you thought you were in control, that's fucking cute, but you're not. And the lesson was this: control is overrated. Presence is everything. You can't control chaos, but you can control how you stand in it. So now, when chaos shows up, I treat it like compost. It stinks, it's messy, but it's fuel for growth. And it's the raw material for strength. Every mess I survive, every problem I navigate, every storm I weather, it adds to the foundation and it makes me better for the next round. I think, you know, domestic God mode, that's chaos turned into a crown, I think. It's saying, yeah, I'm tired, yeah, the laundry's piled up, yeah, the kids are bouncing off the walls, but I'm still here, I'm still standing, and I'm still showing up. Because truthfully, the chaos is the evidence. It means you're building something worth fighting through. So if you're listening to this right now in the middle of your own storm, and the kids are screaming in the back seat, and the dishes are stacked up in the ceiling, and your head's full of stress, and nothing's getting done, let me tell you this: you're not failing. You're growing. You're planting. You're building. Chaos isn't the enemy. Chaos is the soil. Now, let's shift gears and talk about something that lights me up every time we talk about it. And that is music, my music familia. You guys know that I absolutely love music, and because for all the talk about chaos, growth, and truth, music is still the pulse. It's what brings people into the same room. It's the opportunity for somebody who's never met somebody else to share space, and an opportunity they otherwise never would have been able to. Music is therapy, it's fire, it's community. And right now, I want to shine a huge spotlight on a band stepping into Columbus for the very first time. The band's called Kissing Lilith, and they're going to be here coming up in October, and I want you guys to have this opportunity to check them out. They're a Cleveland band with a raw, modern edge, and I'm telling you right now that their sounds are going to hit you in the chest. It's kind of an intense melody of heavy and emotion, but crafted with precision. And their single, Kiss Me Kill Me, holy shit, dude, that's a statement. And it's not background music. I think that's the best part about it, is it demands attention. It's the kind of track you turn up and suddenly you're not just listening, you're feeling. On October 18th, Kissing Lilith will be here in Columbus for the High Spirit Fest. This is their debut in our city and their first time stepping into the scene. And that matters, and you and I both know that, because first impressions in music aren't just about how you play, they're how you connect. Columbus doesn't just give out easy applause. We know that for a fact as well, right? And a list of facts that we know. If you're good, this city will let you know. If you're not, it'll also let you know that you suck even quicker. And that's why this is such a big deal. Kissing Lilith isn't rolling in soft. They're coming in with some energy and some hunger and something to prove. High Spirit Fest isn't just a lineup. It's a family reunion. It's people who care about music showing up shoulder to shoulder, living in a real time. It's community in motion, and when a band like Kissing Lilith makes the drive from Cleveland to Columbus, they're not filling a slot on a bill. They're investing in us. They're saying, we believe in this scene is worth being part of. Music is service too. Every band that steps on stage is giving something of themselves, their time, their energy, their heart. They're pouring chaos, pain, joy, and truth into sound and offering it to whoever's willing to receive it. And that's community work, just in a different form, and I don't think people give enough credit. When I listen to Kissing Lilith, I hear a band not afraid to be vulnerable, not afraid to hit heavy, and not afraid to take risks. That's exactly the kind of energy Columbus needs, and that's exactly the kind of energy that deserves to be met with a crowd that shows up ready as fuck, like I know Columbus does when they show something that they love. October 18th, don't just scroll past the flyer. Don't just say, that looks cool. Buy the ticket. Bring a friend. Be in the room. Because when you support bands like this at their start, they're not just watching a show. And you're not just watching a show. You're becoming part of their story. They're becoming part of their story. 5 years from now, when Kissing Lilith is blowing up, touring bigger, maybe even breaking into national festivals, you're going to be able to say, I was there. I saw them there that first night in Columbus. I was a part of that movement. That's history. And my friends, those are the bragging rights that we should be bragging about. And that's also how you fuel a scene. Scenes don't die because talent disappears. Scenes die when people stop showing up. And the reverse is true. Scenes thrive when people invest in them. And investing doesn't just mean money. It means energy, it means time, it means being present. It's what the High Spirit Fest is all about. A celebration? Yes. A lineup? Yes. But more than that, it's a pulse check, I think. It's Columbus saying, we're still fucking here, look at us. We still believe in music. We still believe in live music, and we still believe in our community. I want to give a shout out right now to Kissing Lilith because it gave us permission to close this episode with their track Kiss Me Kill Me. So you're going to get a chance to check it out. And that's trust. That's partnership. That's them saying, we want to connect with this community and we believe raw transmission is a bridge. And I take that so seriously, and you guys should know that by now. So when that song plays at the end of this episode, I want you to do more than just nod along. I want you to really listen. I want you to feel it. Let it remind you of why live music matters. Let it be a spark that pushes you to buy the ticket. Mark the calendar and stand in the crowd on October 18th with me and everybody else that's going to be out there. Because music isn't just entertainment. It's survival. It's hope. It's chaos turned into rhythm, pain turned into melody, and truth turned into sound. And when you show up for that, you're not just supporting a band, you're supporting yourself. You're feeding your own need for connection, for energy, for life outside the scroll. Kissing Lilith is coming to Columbus and they're bringing everything they've got. Let's give them everything that we've got back and show them what we really do for new bands that come to our city. Let me take a moment and give credit where credit is due, because while music is the heartbeat and trust is the spine, none of this happens without the people who show up behind the scenes and keep the engine running. And for me, one of those steady anchors is Shamrock Printing. If you've ever tried to build something, whether it's a band, a podcast, a brand, or even just a small event, you know how important the little things are. The flyers, the merch, the banners, the business cards. Those are all the pieces that make people stop, pay attention, and remember. Without them, though, you're just I don't know, another voice in the wind, right? And Shamrock for years has helped MFP and Raw Transmission and has been there for me and the team in ways that go beyond just ink on paper. They've been part of the foundation. They've made sure when I've got an idea, it doesn't just stay in my head or on a screen. It becomes something you can hold in your hand. And that's huge, because building a community, building a movement, it takes trust, it takes partnerships, it takes people willing to step in and say, we've got your back. And that's exactly what Shamrock has done for me and my community. This is what I think is necessary, and it isn't just a shout out, it's a thank you. You know, to Ace and Jonathan, the whole team over there, thank you for believing in the mission and showing up consistently for me over and over again, and for proving that local business isn't just about transactions, it's about relationships. Support doesn't always have to be flashy, it doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes it's steady, behind the scenes, making sure the gears keep turning so this vision doesn't stall. But when you add all those small, steady things, they all add up, right? That's what creates momentum, and that's what keeps the scene alive. So to Shamrock Printing and to all the people and businesses like them in Columbus who show up in their own way, thank you. You're part of this mission, and you're part of this family, and I want everyone listening to hear that clearly. If you're building something, don't overlook the ones who help you carry it, because support like that, that's the truth in action. And that's louder than any noise that we could ever make, even as a community. All right, so let's pause for a second and let's talk about the city of Columbus. Every city has its own heartbeat, right? And Columbus doesn't always scream the loudest. We're not trying to be LA, but we're not trying to be New York, but we're not trying to outshine anybody else. What Columbus does is it shows up. Quiet sometimes, steady always, and when it counts, loud as hell. And that's what I love about this city. You look at the music scene, the small businesses, the families, the people, the grinding day after day, their resilience here, that's the kind of strength in Columbus that doesn't beg for spotlight. It's the kind that proves itself by just continuing, by showing up again and again. That's what I saw today while volunteering. It reminded me that this city is full of people who care, people who don't just talk about online, but actually get up and get out and roll up their sleeves and do something. Columbus is a city built on service. I learned that a long time ago. And on families and on neighbors helping neighbors. Sure, we've got our own counts of chaos, traffic, politics, construction that never seems to end, right? And the Buckeye heartbreaks. But even in those moments, we keep moving. We keep building. We keep showing up. That's the soil I was talking about earlier. Chaos that grows something real. Columbus is where scenes start, where bands cut their teeth, where ideas get tested, and community either rises or falls depending on how much we invest in it. And we've seen that firsthand from what I've seen and what you've seen. The city isn't done investing. So if you're listening right here in Columbus, thank you. Thank you for being part of this. Thank you for every show that you go to and every small business that you supported, every moment you chose to give instead of just scrolling by. That's what makes the city what it is. And if you're listening from outside of Columbus, let this be your window in. This isn't just a dot on a map. This is a place full of grit and music and family and chaos and truth. A place worth paying attention to. Columbus isn't perfect, but it's real. And in a world drowning in noise, I'll take every opportunity I can to just be real. Now let's talk about something right here in our own community, right here in Gahanna. Darimar Martial Arts. My boys and girls over there, they just wrapped up their open house on September 27th, and the turnout showed exactly why Darimar has the reputation that it does. Families came through, kids hit the mats, parents got to see firsthand what this school is about. And it wasn't hype, and I guarantee you, it wasn't smoke and mirrors. It was real, and it was powerful. But here's the thing. This isn't just about martial arts as a sport. It's about what it builds in people. For kids, it's confidence, it's focus, it's discipline, it's ability to walk taller and handle themselves and know they've got the strength inside that nobody can walk away from. For adults, it's stress relief, probably, most likely some fitness, and honestly, it's rediscovering that fire you thought you might have lost years ago. Darimar isn't just teaching kids and punches, they're shaping character. They're creating a culture where growth is expected, resilience is built, and people walk away better than they came in. Parents talk about how their kids were so shy and then became bold, and how their restless kid became focused, and how their teen found discipline in a way nothing else was clicking. And that's transformation, ladies and gentlemen, and you can't put a price tag on that. The adults, I've heard the same story over and over. I thought I was just signing up for a workout, but I ended up finding a practice that challenged me mentally and physically in ways I didn't expect. That's what real martial arts does, folks. Find Darimar Martial Arts on Facebook and Instagram. Reach out, ask questions, step into the dojo and feel the difference, because opportunities like this don't stick around forever, and truth isn't just you saying you stand for it, it's what you do about it. So step in there, message my man Sam, let him know that you heard about them on this podcast and that you would love to get more information about signing up for a trial. And just like that, we're going to close out this episode of Raw Transmission. This is episode 2, Standing on Truth, Not Noise. And today felt different, and I'm glad it did. Episode 1 was heavy, and it needed to be, because raw truth was weight, but this time it's been about lifting, about pointing at the light, and showing what happens when you put your energy where it actually matters. We talked about service and how volunteering and giving back does more to silence the noise than 100 arguments online ever could. We talked about domestic God mode, about redefining fatherhood and masculinity, and an absence, but not as absence, but as present, showing up in the chaos and owning it with pride. We reframed chaos not as an enemy, but as soil. Messy, yes, but fertile, and the very ground where growth comes from. Today felt different, and I'm glad it did. Episode 1 was heavy, and it needed to be, because raw truth has weight. But this time it's been about lifting, about pointing at the light, about showing what happens when you put your energy where it actually matters. We talked about service today and how volunteering and giving back does more to silence the noise than 100 arguments online ever could. We talked about domestic God mode, about redefining fatherhood and masculinity, not as absence but as presence, showing up in the chaos and owning it with the pride that we all know we have inside. We reframed chaos not as an enemy but as soil. Messy, yes, but fertile, the very ground where growth comes from. We celebrated music with Kissing Lilith stepping into Columbus for the very first time at High Spirit Fest on October 18th. We gave love to Shamrock Printing for being the kind of steady supporters who keep visions alive. We said thank you to Columbus because this city may not always scream the loudest, but it always shows up in ways that matter. And we spotlighted Darimar Martial Arts, proving that discipline, confidence, and growth are still alive and awaiting anyone who is willing and ready to take the first step. And here's the thread tying it all together. Truth is action. Truth is showing up. Truth is what you invest your time, your energy, and your heart into. Noise burns quick and fades fast. Truth always lasts. So I want to leave you with this. Wherever you are, whatever chaos you're facing, whatever noise is trying to distract you, redirect that energy. Put it into something real. Serve, build, create. If you got time to hate, you have time to create. Show up for your family. Show up for your scene. Show up for your community. That's the loudest thing that you could ever do. Now to close it out, I've got something special for you guys. Cleveland's own Kissing Lilith gave me permission to drop their single Kiss Me Kill Me right here on Raw Transmission. And I want you to do me a favor. Don't play this quiet. I want you to crank it. Let it fill your space. Let it remind you why, just exactly why, live music matters. Let it fuel you and show up October 18th to their Columbus debut at High Spirit Fest so that I can shake your hand, because music is truth. Music is chaos turned into rhythm. Music is community, and if you stand on that, the noise doesn't stand a chance. This is Raw Transmission, music, truth, and chaos. Until next time, stay raw, folks.
I can feel it. crashing, maybe I'm the problem, I don't know what to do. I can feel it crashing, maybe I'm the problem, I don't know what to do. I can feel it crashing, maybe I'm the problem, I don't know what to do. I can feel it crashing, maybe I'm the problem, I don't know what to do.
Walmart deals are happening October 7th through 12th.